Castology.
This is a tiny-sode of the Zanecast, where I, Zane C. Weber, get to tell you all the podcasts that I want you to listen to, and Liz and Nick just have to sit there and take it.
Look, you know what? I'm tired enough that I'm happy just to sit here and take it today.
Yeah, go ham, Zane.
I'm
You
Zane
know
C.
what?
Weber, that is.
Liz Best.
And that was...
Nick Bleeker.
You know, I'm looking forward to it because this means I don't have to do work. I just have to listen and be funny.
It is
I mean,
pretty
I don't
exciting.
even have to be funny sometimes.
You don't have to.
No, I can just listen and be like, cool, sounds good. Good night.
Yeah. So this is the year of the nerd for Zane. And following that theme, I'm doing top 5, well, just 5 good, not top 5 necessarily, because I haven't listened to them all. I've listened to all of these, but not all in the world. Wordy,
I was going to say,
podcasts.
you're recommending podcasts you haven't listened. I'm glad you clarified that. 'Cause, look, I haven't listened to all of these, but I'm recommending them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have recommended one of these previously. I have been recommended one of these previously, and 3 are new to this podcast.
Hooray.
okay.
I do like wordy, nerdy things,
Yeah.
being a word nerd. That's my job. I literally get paid to be a word nerd.
I love how etymology always turns into history. That's what I love about word podcasts is you can't avoid the two. So starting off, science diction, which is the one that I recommended, and it takes a science word and looks at it specifically through a science lens.
Yes, I enjoyed that one.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is run by WNYC Studios, and it talks about science words like why is Spanish flu called Spanish flu, and what does the word meme actually have to do with biology.
Oh, I liked that one.
So yeah, that's an easy one. We don't need to talk about it too much because we've already spoken about it. I recommended it, a high listen. I still listen to it. Usually I just pick the ones where I really want to learn about it, and otherwise this is one of the ones that comes on passively as I'm listening through my playlist. However, the most recent episode was the host talking about why vocal fry is not necessarily a bad thing, and if people could stop picking on women who have vocal fry in their natural voice because it's just a misogyny thing.
Oh my God. I need to listen to that
What's
because I
vocal
have,
fry?
when you talk occasionally like this and you've got a little bit of a crackle.
It's
Oh,
usually
okay,
when
okay.
you relax, or
Yeah.
people associate a lot with kind of California girl accent.
Like, oh my God.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, cool.
It's kind of that
Gotcha.
crackle in the back of the
Yeah,
throat.
it's yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just 16 minutes of talk of literally someone has phoned in and said, "Hey, I like the podcast, but listening to the host, and if you could just get her to talk like a normal person, I would be more likely to listen." And I'm like, come on.
Hey.
F you, buddy.
I personally know what it's like to not be able to stand the voice of a podcast host. However, I
you
never
don't tell
hold
them
it,
to change their voice.
Yeah.
never hold
You
it against
always
them.
say it's the
always
same
me.
thing. Yeah.
It's always me. And vocal fry is something that some people just have. It can be affected and it can be damaging in some ways. But if someone's Science Diction has released over 40 episodes, so if they're doing vocal fry, they would have damaged themselves by now.
Yep.
So that's my soapbox, and I'm off of it. The next one was one that Liz recommended to us, The Illusionist.
I knew you were going to, as soon as you said word nerd, I'm like, I bet he's going to recommend The Illusionist.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this podcast.
So this is Helen Zaltzman. Helen Zaltzman has bounced around a lot with her podcast, The Illusionist, and she's kind of been on the right side of history a lot of the time. She was the first plug to be pulled when the network she was with was not featuring people of color enough, and she was like, okay, well, if you just don't have enough resources, I'll leave. Give that space to someone else, please. But again, this takes one word and then goes through the history of it and some of its homophones and other things like that. I know that there is a vacuum on, and if you can hear it, I'm very sorry, but we're just going to keep going.
Yeah, look,
I'm
it's
on a
one of
roll.
those things where once we get to a certain time of night,
And usually we take a break specifically for this, but it happens
it's
earlier in the
so
night.
Yeah.
late tonight,
very
which
late
is
tonight.
normally good because we're normally finished by now. In too much chatting.
Recently it has been great on The Illusionist. I particularly love the Zero episode and also the Arrow Ace, which talks about a romantic and asexuality. Being asexual myself, great episodes. So
Yeah, nice.
Illusionist by Helen Zaltzman, can't recommend it enough. Now, for the ones that have never appeared on this podcast before.
How exciting.
Interesting.
Words for Granted. So this is by Ray Belly. And this is basically, it takes a word and it takes it from its linguistic evolution. So it follows it back through culture and through language from one to another to another. The episodes are not too long. So usually they're between 15 and 20 minutes. And yeah, so most recent episodes run amok. The hyperbole, ellipse, and ellipsis, kind of examining the difference between the two and why the two words exist.
104 episodes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. And also goes through actual phenomenon in language. So one of my favorite examples of this is the lost letters of English. So English used to have a long S, which German still has, and they also have had the ampersand, and we also had the thorn, which was a TH, which was written like a Y. So yeah, this is Words for Granted by Ray Belly. I very much enjoy this podcast. This is another one where if something comes up and I'm like, yes, I'm very interested in that, or I'll just listen to it passively. A lot of these are like that because a lot of these follow the same kind of format of here is the topic, listen to it now.
Yep.
Have subscribed.
Wonderful. Lexicon Valley is the next one.
It's a great title.
So this is an examination of language more so than etymology. So it's from Columbia University linguistics professor John McWhirter. And it's basically examining words and phrases and how they're used to either inform or misinform. So this is definitely more of a kind of cultural, kind of sociological approach to words and language. I really love it. And I think one of the best episodes specifically around that was a recent one in November, it was a bonus episode called In Language, Context is King, which means that you really have to read everything around a sentence to understand the sentence, particularly in things like the Bible and things like that.
Oh, yes.
And also it talks about, there was a great episode called Assholes and Bitches, which is what qualifies someone as an asshole. Like it means an asshole is not automatically a bitch. So it's not just an insult.
No, they're quite different.
Very different.
Like I'm not an asshole.
And there was also an examination of the singular they and why just use it.
Yeah, honestly, like I've been an editor my entire working life, and it was drummed out of me very early on. You cannot use they if you're talking about one person. And if I can learn and correct myself when I get it wrong, being that it's been my career to, in quote marks, fix that when it occurs in copy, then fucking anyone can.
Yeah.
And another great episode was also examining the effect of BLM and other politically correct movements on word games. Like, can you play the word Jew, Jew, in Scrabble?
Which I couldn't when I was playing Words with Friends, and I was like, rude.
That's for a very specific reason, because that is a social game and you could use it in a rude context. And that's why you can't play it.
I was very confused because I remember at the time I was playing Words with Friends and I put it down, and then I posted a screenshot being like, well, Words with Friends is anti-Semitic.
Where in fact they're just there to stop the misuse of that word.
Yeah, interesting.
And again, it could be taken either way. So yeah, this is again around 30 minutes, more kind of sociological examination of how we use language rather than strict historical sort of examination. Finally, Lingthusiasm. So,
I would thought that's not a you podcast because of the punny name.
I have to get past puns a lot in my life. Puns are everywhere, Liz.
I know, and they're the few joys in my life. Don't take them away from me.
So this is Gretchen McCulloch and Lauren Gorn. It's basically two girls having a chat. They're both linguists. They're both language students / teachers, professors, and they're just talking about. So one of them is the kind of episode it's -clitics. And it's like, why can't you use it's in that context? Because it's a contraction of it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why can't you use it? And kind of talking about that.
Can I take that one episode and share it with literally everybody who ever gives me copy? Because my God, I correct that error a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. The latest episode at time of recording, which, and I believe it was released in November before they took a break, was called Cool Things About Scales and Implicature, which is like the language's ability to grade things like temperature with just words. So we know that cool, tepid, warm, hot, that's a scale.
Yeah.
But what is the difference between tepid and lukewarm, which is hotter?
I don't know.
So they have a whole conversation about that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Sounds too smart.
Nick, I was going to say, Nick looks like his brain's just broken. Look, at time of recording, it is 9:30 at night, so that's like brain-breaking time.
So episodes run between half an hour and 45 minutes, and they're a little bit more in depth. But this is a little bit more Zane dry than the other recommendations, but it is presented in a chatty way. But it's two experts talking to each other. I would compare it to This Podcast Is Gonna Kill Me in tone.
I like that. Right.
So, yeah.
Cool.
So that is my top 5 wordy nerdy podcasts. So.
Good. I'm looking forward to
there's a few on there that I'm very keen on.
2 of those.
If you have a word podcast that you would like me to listen to,
or me, because I like words,
I would like to listen to it. So let us know either on social media or in the form at that'snotcanon.com/castology, or give us a 5-star review and just put the name of the podcast in there, and then screenshot it and send it to us on social media. And that, I mean, all of those are ways that we appreciate you.
Absolutely.
All right, I've been Zane C. Weber. This has been a tiny cast with Zane herewith.
Featuring Liz.
And
Nick Bleeker.
Keep listening to podcasts, everyone.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Abby, and this is Alan.
Hello.
We're from the Lunatics Radio Hour podcast, where we explore the history of horror and modern horror storytelling.
We do deep dives into legends like ghost trains, or the Headless Horseman, or Wendigos.
Available wherever you listen to podcasts,
including cell phones and computers.